Hey guys, welcome back to Together Donna. My name is Abby, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about, I've been wanting to do this video for minutes, but I wanted to talk about the 3 most karmic signs in the zodiac in astrology, period. And some of these might be, probably one of these might be like, yeah, I can see that. But some of these you might be like, but we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about why. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I'm going to name all of them and I'm going to tell you why. So the first one, the first karmic sign in the zodiac, let's start with the easy one, I guess, would be Scorpio. So when a Scorpio comes into your life, or your Scorpio placements, or however you want to look at it, Scorpio as a whole, Scorpio as an energy is a very karmic. Why? Because they're ruled by Pluto, and Pluto rules death, transformation, sex, death, magic, the occult, the unconscious mind, the your shadow side, and so because of this, it's very karmic because it automatically links to death. So let's say you have a past life that you died in, there was a or like you committed suicide in a past life or something of the sort. There's a trauma that's created from that energy that then carries into whatever lifetime that you need to fix it and heal that in. So Scorpios tend to be very karmic because they bring the energy of death with them. So let's say you're dating a Scorpio, or you met a Scorpio, or your best friend's a Scorpio, whatever, and you've had Scorpios around you your whole life, or like you've had very you've been impacted really heavily by Scorpio energy. The reason for that is because when Scorpios come into your life, they come in to really embody the energy of change. They embody the energy of death. Like, you need to let shit go. They kind of like, some of them like will inspire you out of it. Some of them will just set the example for you. Some of them will in their way just literally push you into transforming yourself, because not only do they do the transformation on themselves, but they also do it to people around them. So it's a very karmic sign, because it leads you into having to deal with your traumas, because that's another thing that Pluto rules, the shadow sides of ourselves, and that trauma, that those things that we hide, and which includes from past lifetimes, traumas that we have from past lifetimes, that gets dealt, it gets dealt through, like, you know, Saturn, but it gets hidden in Pluto. So Scorpios really kind of shine a light in your unconscious mind, and your thoughts, your truth, and that's why they are the way they are. They seek truth in everything, because they're looking for the core issue, not the surface level. They're looking for the core, the truth in its purest form, your truth in the purest form, who you are to your purest form. And in order to see that, see you being your best self, sometimes they gotta bring that energy of transformation. And so when you meet like a Scorpio, or you meet the next 2 signs that I'm going to talk about, then you know that there's something karmic that is being dealt here. And especially if you look at astrology and you study astrology, and you see how your vertex point is being activated, your personal planets, how your generational planets affect you through your houses. If you have Scorpio placements, where that placement is, there's a lot of karma that gets dealt because of those Scorpio and Pluto placements. So that would be the first sign that is very karmic, especially when it comes to past lives. It always, anytime I'm looking at past lives in somebody's chart, I always look at Pluto, look at Scorpio placements, and it just shows me where that person needs to do death work, and where that person needs to do that cleansing, that like unconscious mind, like clearing. Like, you need to really come to terms, like you need to accept it. A lot of things have to do with like sexuality as well, because that's another thing that Pluto and Scorpio rules. It rules sexuality. So like, let's say you've been in a closet or something like that, like things like that, it's very Pluto. It's very, very much like Scorpio energy. So when there's Scorpio in your life, or like you met a Scorpio, you fell for a Scorpio, your best friend's a Scorpio, you should notice how throughout your relationship with these people, how you've changed and transformed yourself, because that's part of their karma. And not all karma gets dealt exactly the same, but that is part of how they deal their karma, but allowing you to change and like reflect and transform within your wounds. So that's kind of a big one. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is Capricorn, because you guys know was going to mention this. But Capricorn is a very karmic sign. And the reason why Capricorn is a very karmic sign because they're ruled by Saturn, who is the planet of karma. So a lot of people like to focus on Capricorn mostly for what we do in the physical realm. So like, yeah, we're hardworking, you know, we're in the 10th house, we rule social status, we rule like your the career, like your literally like your major journey. Your 10th house is like a really important house as far as like what you do in your life, but it's a very karmic sign, because a lot of people kind of just forget about this when it comes to Capricorns. But when a Capricorn comes into your life, a lot of the time you'll notice how they'll inspire you. Again, like it's very similar to Pluto. They'll inspire you to, especially, by the way, all of these, the signs that I'm mentioning, is if you have a healthy one of these. Yes, a non-healthy Scorpio, non-healthy Capricorn, a non-healthy, the one I'm going to mention later, they can still do this kind of shifts and help you kind of shift in this. But the way a healthy one will kind of shift you in this is a little bit more kind of like you can, you know, in Spanish it's like tú lo puedes masticar, like you can actually swallow the pill. Like it's a little easier to swallow. It's an easier pill to swallow with a healthy version of each sign. This includes Capricorn placements as well. So Saturn, because it's very karmic, the way it moves through Capricorn, it has to do with, it's really quick karma. Like Capricorn can see lessons from a mile away. So if you have a Capricorn in your life, a Capricorn came into your life, your best friend's a Capricorn, your boss is a Capricorn, your boyfriend, your girlfriend is a Capricorn, whatever, and like let's say your boss was like, you know, you need to work on this. If you work on this and you know you would get the promotion, this is really what you need to work on. And let's say you didn't work on it, and then you applied for the thing and then you didn't get it. Right. So some karma is like quicker than others when it comes to Capricorns, because it's like they have the ability to see lessons, they have the ability to see potential in people as well, which is why they trust few. Why we trust few. They definitely trust few, and it has to be there's something about you that they need to see in you. Like they have to see that potential. There's some people that we just do not see potential in, because some people are stuck in their ways, and that's fine. But if a Capricorn is still in your life, there will be that person that is always doing something. You'll always see them kind of like trying to do something in their lives, trying to achieve something. They could in fact inspire you to be better, but they're also nurturing in a way that some people are not. Saturn is that father parental kind of energy, so they bring the energy of that harsh kind of like harsh love, like tough love, and so the way Capricorns deal karma is kind of like almost by, it's like almost in an I told you so kind of way, like you should have listened to me. Capricorns and Scorpios give great advice as well, so I'm just saying probably the best advice, including with the next sign I want to talk about, the best advice. They're very much like even with Capricorn, Saturn will punish Capricorn if they did not do what they were supposed to do. That's why we embody the energy of Saturn very well, and we're able to then know our lessons and see where the potential dangers are and how to avoid them. It's kind of the same thing if we like give you advice, or we talk to you, or we're like, hey, you know, you shouldn't do this, I don't think it would be good for you, and you don't listen, and then something happens. It's just kind of like we gotta sit there and we're just like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like they're very karmic, but it's like real-time karmic. Like you'll see it constantly. Like Pluto and Scorpio, you'll see a lot of the shifts happen very gradually. With Capricorn, you can see it happen gradually because they are Earth sign, but a lot of the time, if you're really close to a Capricorn, you'll see it kind of like, I told you so. It's like the words, I told you so. Just, I mean, and that's Saturn. That's literally Saturn being like, well, you knew. Well, you knew. So they're very karmic in that way. And if you have a Capricorn in your life, it's really important to listen. It's really important to kind of weigh in what they say and how they go about what they do. Like really pay attention, because they're very calculated. We are very calculated individuals. Capricorns are super calculated, and there's a reason why we do what we do. There's always a reason. So it's really important to kind of note that. because ultimately we don't want the bad karma. That's why we move the way we move. So it can be a karmic sign because if we're in your life and you're always telling, we're like, you're always seeking for advice, or you're in a relationship with us, or whatever the thing is, and you just don't listen to us, and you kind of just brush a lot of stuff we say off, and you just want to be toxic, then a lot of the time we're going to be sitting here like, I told you so though. It's just like bad karma just hitting you back to back, because we're just sitting here like, well, I was the one that told you and you didn't want to listen. Capricorns also have the ability to channel Saturn directly, like honestly, like especially when we're giving advice to you. So it's a very, even though we can say, okay, you know what, a lot of the time we embody the energy of restriction, and like, you know, like let's say you're in a job and you want to leave or something like that, and we're like, hey, you know, maybe wait and then apply somewhere else, and then that kind of advice, that's very Saturnian of us. So just pay attention how a Capricorn do what they do. Okay, now the last sign that's very karmic, also, by the way, wait, let me go back to Capricorn real quick. So because Capricorn is the way they are, and also Saturn rules time, we kind of unlock karma and trauma from different generations. This includes like long-term in your family, like we're able to really kind of hit those points. So let's say you're like really close friends with a Capricorn, and you know, we're able to really pinpoint like, hey, you know, your mom does this a lot. Like we'll be able to see where the root of the problem is as well, when it comes to generational trauma, a lot of these different types of issues, ancestor work as well. It's very much like a time thing. Like we're able to see long term where this karma like is coming from, like how is this happened and why this has been going on for so long, because Saturn rules time. So we also embody that energy. We're not just workaholics, okay? Stop the stigma. Okay, so the last sign, super karmic, is Libra, and I'm gonna tell you why. So Libra is actually exalted in Saturn. So Saturn does like its best work in Libra, basically, even though Capricorns embody the energy of Saturn in Libra, because Libras are the energy of justice and balance, which is what Saturn ultimately wants you to have. It's exalted in that energy. So basically Saturn, if you have Saturn in Libra specifically, it does really good work from there, especially on a generational standpoint. You're able to really kind of balance your energy out, and when you're in balance, you'll get like that heavy-handed karma from Saturn. But the reason why Libra is a very karmic sign is because they bring the energy of balance. When you are in balance, it's similar to Capricorn. When you're in balance, by the way, that's 2 cardinal signs in the karmic, and then Scorpio being the first as a fixed. But even though a lot of the fixed signs, they have to not be fixed at some point, like that's usually what it is. But with Libra, they bring the energy of balance, justice, fairness, and it brings the energy of karma right into it, because in order for something to be fair, it needs to be like just. It has to be just. It has to be like, okay, well, what did this person do? Weigh it out in the scales, and it becomes the scales. Like you have to see what's right and what's wrong, and it really turns into that. And that's how it's similar to Capricorn in many ways, except that Libra, even though it's an air sign, and air signs are a little bit more cutthroat than water signs, and I mean, I want to say earth signs are cutthroat, but we're a little bit more nurturing. The air signs are very cutthroat, even though they can be a little bit cutthroat because they're ruled by Venus. Venus ultimately wants Libra to be balanced in order for it to have pleasure, to be happy, to be content, and you know, just living your best life. That's the whole point. Like Venus is like, okay, I need to have a cardinal sign out here to just show you guys how to balance things out, because Taurus could literally be fixed and happy and like chilling, enjoying life, enjoying food and all this stuff. But like Libra embodies Venus energy in a different way, because it's just like, hey, you know, you need to actively do something about your balance, your justice, your level of happiness, what is it that's wrong, like how is this person treating you, balance it in the scales, what, you know. And then it turns into kind of I told you so kind of thing, because Libras can also give very good advice. They're able, a healthy Libra, I do have to point this out, non-healthy Libras, sometimes they can make stuff about themselves. Sometimes especially if they're involved in the situation. If they're not involved in the situation, they should be okay at giving advice. But if they're involved in the situation and they're a toxic Libra, they will turn the scales to themselves as one of their shadow issues. But Libras as a whole embody the energy of balance, justice, being fair, and in order for karma to get dealt, it needs to be in a fair way. And sometimes they come in and into your life, they could be your friend, they could be whatever it is, and like, let's say you haven't been taking care of yourself, you haven't been like, you're really just been down on yourself, and you haven't been doing what you need to be doing, and the Libra just says the words that you do. You're like, oh wow, you mean you didn't have to say it like that? Like, well, you don't even do this, so how you expect this is gonna happen for you? Like, literally, they'll just say it like out of the blue, like straightforward, like air sign level of just cutthroat. But they're very karmic that way, because they'll make you think, they'll make you process why you're doing what you're doing, why you think it's okay to do what you do, and also in connection to past lives as well, because when it comes to Libra, it's different, because you'll see the energy play out in, like, wherever you have Libra in the chart, you're going to need to balance stuff out. A lot of the time, sometimes they'll have to do with a partner, because the 7th house, obviously, they rule partnerships, but they also rule enemies. So it's kind of has to be a balancing of the darker aspects of what relationships are, and the lighter aspects of what relationships are and what partnerships are, and the traumas that happen within partnerships, and the issues and different things that come up during partnerships. So when it comes to Libra, a lot of it comes through from partners. So if you have, like, I don't know, you had a toxic relationship, and I don't know, you have soulmate, you have twin flame, whatever, and you're in a toxic relationship with them, or you're I don't know, you just have like issues communicating, but everything else is fine. Like, it's just like there's something off. A lot of the time, if you go into the records, and you'll see that it has to do with some aspect, some component of the relationship, some issue that was had that's now carrying over into this lifetime. So you'll see a lot of relationship trauma kind of needing to be balanced out through that kind of Libra energy. So you'll see Libras being able to really give you good relationship advice, and how to be fair, how to be just in different situations, because they don't take anything but the best. It has to be aligned. The scales have to be even, you know what I'm saying? So that's why they're so karmic, because they embody that energy of justice. Yeah, so those were the 3 most karmic signs in the zodiac. And I would say, like, the challenge would be for you guys to just really see who you have in your life that kind of embodies this type of energy. If you have this placements in your chart, especially if it's a dominant placement, see how you do it to yourself. Especially, like, let's say if you have, like, I don't know, your moon is in Scorpio, and you have, like, in your moon is in your 8th house and something like that. Like, you have, like, that moon in that space, in that transformative space, so you know you're doing a lot of death work, a lot of healing work, transformative work, dark work, like shadow work, like, you know what's getting triggered, basically. So it's super, super, super deep. So you're able to kind of see how different placements, like, affect you, how different placements give you karma as well in different houses. Like, if you have Libra in your, I don't know, in your 6th house, or Capricorn in your 6th house, or even Pluto, Scorpio in your 6th house, or even the planets that they're ruled by in some of the houses, and you have a lot of health issues because you eat bad, guess what? That be karma. Like, there's different ways to kind of see how they play out, but they bring karma wherever they are in the chart, in your life, like in connections to people. So you're really able to see and get healing from those people, to those spaces. Also paying attention to the vertex point, your vertex point specifically, and how, like, mine is in one of the signs that we mentioned, and how that's affecting your karma, and how that, like, is calling that type of energy into your life. Because a lot of the time, especially if you have a vertex point in any of the 3 signs that I mentioned, you're gonna meet a lot of people that are very karmic in your life, that I go through this all the time. I have, like, all of my deep relationships, all of my deep connections, they're not like fluffy come and go type of things at all. It has to be deep. It has to be like a strong connection. It has to be like karmic. It has to be like past life level. Like, it has to be all of these things for it to be like a huge impact on me. Like, that's just what it is. Be able to kind of understand a little bit more about yourself and who you are, through seeing how these things play out in your life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe.